Always great catching up with the Motown phenom, Kevin Lee, who's going to be taking on Daniel Rodriguez at UFC Fight Night on August 28th. Kevin, how's it going, man?
What's going on? Everything's smooth. Camp is all the hard work is finally done. It's feeling good.
And you were just telling me off air, time of recording this, your brother's fighting tonight for Bellator. I guess just too close to fight time. You wanted to stay back in Vegas?
Yeah, I still got a couple of things I got to take care of. Still got to train. My fight's next week, so I'm watching them from home like anybody else. But it's something we got to deal with.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Great to see you back. Of course, you were supposed to fight Sean Brady in July. I know you had the rib injury. Was that just something you suffered in training as far as the injury that took you out of that first fight?
Yeah, it was just a training accident. It happens. Kind of caught a good shot to the ribs. And coming off my knee surgeries, it had been a long time since I sparred. So for me to jump back in that intense sparring, it kind of caught up to me a little bit. The rest of the body started breaking down. I think people overlook I'm doing something that nobody else has done. I'm coming back off 2 knee surgeries in a year, so that's putting a lot of strain on the body.
And when were you actually able to get back to training after that? Because obviously you want to take your time and make sure you don't re-injure yourself.
It took me maybe 3 weeks. 3 weeks, about a month before I really felt good. This last month has been the best that I've felt in a long time.
Sean Brady, then we find out, is out. It just seems like it's cursed. The fight's not going to happen. You settled on Daniel Rodriguez, but were there other opponents on the table? Any other options that you knew of before Daniel Rodriguez?
There was a couple other guys that I asked for. We maybe personally reached out to like 12 different guys.
Really?
I was asking for any and everybody. Bilal was a good one. He accepted, but he kind of wanted to push the date back to September, and my date has already been pushed back twice, so I didn't want to wait. Mike Perry would have been the one, I think, but for some reason he just didn't want to fight. So we settled on Rodriguez. He was actually the only one to step out of the 12 guys. So hats off to him. So we're going to put on a good show.
And this fight's at welterweight, obviously. I know you've kind of made it known that this is the permanent home. I know you went up before, came back down. That's confirmed, though. You pretty much see your future at welterweight, unless obviously the right opportunity comes around at 155.
Yeah, I'm a full-size welterweight, and I'm staying here for the time being. The only fight that I could see me coming back for is to rematch Charles Oliveira. I feel like I deserve that fight, and that'd be the only one I would kind of go back down for. But, I'm a full-fledged welterweight, and I was kind of feeling that way even before the Oliveira fight.
Speaking of Charles, did you expect him to go on the run he did and win the lightweight title after beating? I know it's, obviously you fought him, so you want him to do well, but did you really feel that way after fighting him, that he would go on to achieve a lightweight title?
Yeah, I did. And you can even see it in my post-fight interview after I fought him. That was one of those fights where I almost felt like you kind of passed the torch a little bit, After my fight with Gregor Gillespie, and I'm in the octagon talking to Joe Rogan, I told him I wasn't ready to step up and fight a championship level fight yet. I wanted like another one, kind of, just to solidify myself into that weight class. And the next fight, I ended up fighting the world champion. So, as soon as I got out the cage, I knew that he would do that for sure. He was the best guy at 55.
Does that bother you, though, too? People look at, the loss to Oliveira, which now, he's the champion. Like, people sort of forget that you're fighting really good competition, even in some of your losses. Do you feel like that, the critics are overlooking that a little bit?
Yeah, and even in that fight, I was winning the fight going into the third. They do, but they're going to do that anyway. That don't bother me. The critics don't bother me at all. I just going to keep it pushing. I know what I know. The real competitors know what they know. I think Daniel Rodriguez knows what he knows, and he knows he's in for a tough fight. And he knows he's trying to climb up a tall mountain right now. So I'm going to knock him back down.
Last thing on the weight, I talked to Michael Chiesa before his last fight, and he claims that he's the reason you're at 170. He said you guys talked about it, and he kind of put it in your head and said, look, man, stop killing yourself. So I want to hear your side of the story.
Yeah, he was part of it. I give it to him. I like a little competitive motivation. So when I see him go up to 170, do so good, and he was one fight away from winning the title. I think people overlook that too. If he would have won that last fight, he would have been fighting for a title right now. So that gave me a little bit more extra motivation to get up here and do it for sure.
You mentioned Daniel Rodriguez, the opponent, 15-2 record. This must be the type of matchup that excites you, just with his fight style and just knowing on paper this has got fight of the night written all over it.
Yeah, at first it didn't. I hadn't heard of the guy, to be honest with you. But then I started looking him up, and he the way that he fights. And then after I accepted it, I've had a lot of people call me to say, like, I had people from prison call me to say, like, oh, you fighting D-Rod, like that's gonna be a good one. I got a lot of friends that are locked up that have heard of this guy and seen some of his fights outside of before MMA, before all of this, and he's known as a tough guy on the street. So I don't overlook that. That gives me a little bit more motivation and gives me a little bit bigger push to go out there and take him out.
Anything different for this camp, or still, in Vegas, training with the guys you normally train with, same coaches? Anything different going in this one?
Yeah, I mean, the hard part is dealing with this pandemic and not being able to go to Canada the whole time. I think Canada just opened up on the 9th, so just a few days ago. So I've just been able to send videos back and forth between Faraz. He's still one of my head coaches. But yeah, other than that, is working with Eric Nixick, Dewey Cooper, and I've added a new guy too, Eddie Baracco.
Awesome!
Really
I hear great things about Eddie from the guys in Vegas. They're really high on him. So
yeah. I've been working with Eddie for years and years, but now we've kind of ramped up our level of working together. So everything is smooth sailing.
What about training partners? Who are you mainly working with there?
A lot of different. Well, we've had to switch up so much, with this fight only being 3 weeks from Daniel Rodriguez taking it. I've had some good little secret weapons that I'm able to use.
Gotcha. That's a teaser. That's what we call that in this industry. I guess we'll have to see how it translates in the cage. And I imagine the weight's going well. 170. I mean, way easier than cutting that down to 155, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm almost staying a little bit bigger. And not trying to drop too much weight just so I don't give up too much size in there. But I think he's going to be surprised when he sees how big I am compared to him and compared to a lot of other 55ers. I'm no longer really a 55 frame.
Well, and I read something as well that, during this time off with the rehab and injury, you've actually added in a lot of strength training as well to build your body for this weight class, right? That's not something I think you did previously when you moved up.
Yeah, that's why I ended up moving up, because I had doing so much strength training and putting on so much muscle. That's what I just got done doing now, a little bit of strength training just to make sure that I'm keeping that same level and still going up. So yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised when they see my frame. It's been a long time since I've been out. It's been a long time since I fought. So I'm going to surprise a lot of people.
Well, you fought right when the pandemic started, which is crazy. Like, you think of the time between now and then and how much things have changed. Like, it is pretty nuts, because you were on the first card when we were sort of getting all the information about it. I remember that, which was nuts. So yeah, it's good to see you back. How do you see the fight unfolding on August 28th?
I think it's going to be a bloody fight. I think it's going to be a drag him out, a bloody fight. I see him not going anywhere. He's going to fight to the death, and I'm going to bring him close to death. So it's going to be a bloody fight. I can't wait. I haven't fought in the Apex yet. There's going to be a small crowd, but it's a little more of an intimate setting, So I think a lot of people are going to see the blood and kind of have fun with it. And I'm going out there, and I'm going to really lay my soul out on this one.
Is the plan to get one more fight in this year if all goes well, you're healthy, just to kind of keep the momentum going? Is that sort of your plan right now in your head?
Yeah, I would like one more at least. I would like one more in December. It depends on how this fight goes, Of course, you always take it one at a time. You never know how you're going to step out of there. But Madison Square Garden doesn't sound too bad, or December. We'll see how this whole thing. We'll see how it kind of shakes out. It's a big end of the year, and I'm finally ready to start a championship run. So yeah, we'll see.
I was going to say, last time you were at MSG, it worked out pretty well, didn't it?
Yeah. So I might go back there. Back there and bless him again.
What are your thoughts on all this Conor McGregor stuff? The tweeting and deleting, and it seems like fans are kind of turning on him. I would say, I shouldn't even say kind of. I see a lot of fans turning on him just with how he's handled everything since the injury. Just your assessment of what's happened to Conor. Yeah, I mean, I see a guy who's very frustrated and kind of staying with the same old shtick too. It's not showing any growth in your game or who you are as a person. When you just go back and rely on the same old things that kind of like brought him up a little bit, but it's gone to a different level. I don't know. Drugs is a hell of a thing.
Drugs really kind of take you out of it. So I don't know. I don't know. Best of luck to him, though. It seems like he's going through a rough time. It happens. But, to me as a competitor, I never really looked at him anyway. Well, that fight, of course, still interests everybody, right? It still interests me. Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you do it? But, I hope you're able to pull it together a little bit more.
If that fight was to take place, I mean, obviously Conor's got the injury and everything like that, but it still would be a big fight between the two of you. Stylistically, how do you look at that fight between you and Conor? Just seeing how he's done the last couple of fights.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he would be able to handle my pressure and the wrestling. Technically, I'm too many steps ahead of him when it comes to grappling. It would be an interesting fight just from the sense of grappler versus striker almost again, but I'm a lot more well-rounded. So, that would be a fight that I'm not even looking for because there's no way that they accept it or Dana would even offer it to him and lose out on too big of a cash cow. Even though I think his days are behind him as far as like being the biggest star and all this, those days are far gone. I don't think. I think everybody gets their little limelight. He's had it for a few years now, and now it's time to pass the torch to somebody else, and somebody who could do it a little bit better than what he did.
Someone else who's not had any issues outside the cage, but obviously has had a few losses, former opponent of yours, Tony Ferguson. Is that a fight that would ever interest you if he decided to come up to 170? Because I don't know what his plans are going forward, but obviously 3 in a row now, it's going to be tough.
I never really thought about that.
See, I go the extra. I take the little tidbits in these interviews because you fought him for the interim title. I think people forget that. Yeah. I mean,
that was a fight that I was interested in up until I saw him just get dismantled by Oliveira, especially on the ground. It's not really that one would kind of hurt my heart a little bit because I would beat him so bad that it would it would take away from our first fight. So that's one I would do it. Of course I would do it. Easy money is easy money at this point. But I think he's too far gone, and I think he's too far over the hill. So I don't like beating up on people that don't put up a good fight.
Do you think there's anyone right now at 155 that beats Charles Oliveira?
That's in the division.
That's in the weight class. Yeah, that's in the division. I'm excluding you from that, obviously, because you're at 170. But in general, do you see like a Dustin or a guy like Gaethje going in there and taking the throne from Oliveira? Like, how do you feel about what Oliveira has accomplished so far, being the champion?
I think Dustin stands a good chance. I don't necessarily see Beneil or anybody like that beating him. Dustin stands a good chance. Maybe Islam if he can get a little bit more experience. It's going to take a couple more years for Islam, and hopefully Charles starts to slow down at that point. Dustin stands a decent chance, though. Mm-hmm. He with his boxing pressure, and if he can stay and keep it on the feet and stay defensive, then I think Dustin probably stands the best chance out of anybody. But to be honest, I don't think he wins it.
Interesting. Before we go, got to ask, what's downtime looking like right now during camp? You getting into any TV shows, watching any sports, video games? What are you doing these days?
Yeah, I'm gaming a lot. I'm gaming a lot. I've been talking about starting up a Twitch for a long time. Eventually, that's gonna happen. But yeah, I'm gaming a lot. There's this sniper game that I've been on.
Not Warzone though, is it? Or everyone's on Warzone these days.
Yeah, I was on Warzone for a long time, and then now this is Sniper Contracts. It's called. It's a shit. So you just sneak around, kill everybody. That's my game. That's who I am, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Back door and blow everybody's head off. So I'm looking to do that at 170. I think after winning this, I'm gonna be the dark horse. And I was even the dark horse at 55. So that's kind of my game.
How many fights do you think you are away from, getting to that spot, those contender spots? Because things are kind of up in the air right now with, especially with Usman, he's fighting Colby. After that, who knows what's next, right?
Yeah, there's no legitimate contenders. So I think I present a lot of problems for Usman, and I think he knows it too. So I would say only two fights, two fights, and I'm in the number one contenders fight. So, all goes well. I'm looking at another 2 years.
Kevin, appreciate the time, man. I know you're super busy. August 28th, it is UFC Fight Night. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I'll shout out to Boohoo Man. I've been I've been rocking with them. I'm finally signed to a company that I actually kind of dig. So yeah, that's it.